हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। भवानी शंकरो वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणो याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायापतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरं भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Shanti mantra. Om Bhadram Karneभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः ष्टुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्षो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम। I hope it is clear now. Let us chant the mantras from mantra number 1, second section, second chapter. आविसन्निहितं गुहाचरं नाम महत्पदम् अत्रैतत् समर्पितम् एजत् प्राणन्निमिषश्च यदेतज्जानथ सदसद्वरेण्यं परं विज्ञानाद् यद्वरिष्ठं प्रजानाम् यद् अर्चिमद् यद् अणुभ्यो अणु च यस्मिन् लोका निहिता लोकिनश्च तदेतदक्षरं ब्रह्म स प्राणस्तदुप्वाङ्मनः तदेतत् सत्यं तदमृतं तद्वेद्धव्यं सौम्य विद्धि। धनुर्गृहीत्वा उपनिषदं महास्त्रं शरं युपासा निशितं सन्धयीत आयम्य तद्भावगतेन चेतसा लक्ष्यं तदेवाक्षरं सौम्य विद्धि। प्रणवो धनुष्यरो ह्यात्मा ब्रह्म तल्लक्ष्यमुच्यते अप्रमत्तेन वेद्धव्यं शरवत्तन्मयो भवेत्। हरि ओम। So in this section, the teacher reveals the nature of that Supreme Brahma, which one has to realize. That Brahma is of the nature of Prakash, that is knowledge, and it is all pervading, present in our own antakarana. It is the support of all living beings. That Brahma one has to realize. It is smaller than the smallest, larger than the largest. All the lokas, all the worlds, and the inhabitants of this world are established in this Brahma. Tadetadaksharam Brahma sa pranastadu vangmanaha. And the pranas, the mana, etc., all of them are expression of this Brahma alone. That Brahma is Satyam, that one has to realize. So the Upanishad gives a very beautiful metaphor of a bow, an arrow, and a target to make us understand that what is our goal and how to attain it. So all the Upanishads, what they talk about that Brahma, the knowledge which they give about that Brahma are like the bow, and our own inner self is like the arrow. And that Brahma which is indicated with all the words and mantras of the Upanishad that Akshar Brahma is the target. So with a single pointed attention and focus, one has to hit the arrow on that target. Means using the Upanishadic mantras, make the arrow more and more single pointed, understand the arrow very clearly, vividly, hold that arrow, withdraw one's attention from the world, from the senses, from the mind, from the intellect, and hit it, let it go, and become one with that Brahma. Understand your oneness with Brahma. In the fourth mantra, the Rishi reveals that metaphor in more detail. कि प्रणवो धनुः शरो ह्यात्मा ब्रह्म तल्लक्ष्यमुच्यते अप्रमत्तेन वेद्धव्यम शरवत् तन्मयो भवेत्. So let us read Shankaracharyaji's commentary on this mantra. So Shankaracharya writes कि प्रणवः ओमकारः. Pranav is Omkar. That sound Om is called Pranava. And all the Upanishads, their essence of their teaching is conveyed in that Omkar itself. But that Omkar is very subtle, and in order to comprehend the meaning of that Omkar, we have to study all the Upanishads. Even one Upanishad, if we study properly, we will be able to understand that Om. Like in Mundaka Upanishad, the Omkar is explained in detail. This whole world which we experience is indicated with that one sound Om. Om iti etad aksharam idam sarvam. All this is nothing but Om. See, just as when we go to a jewelry shop, we see different types of ornaments. All of them are made from gold, but they are named differently. Some are called bangles, some are called necklaces, some are earrings, nose rings. Different types of shape and structures are there. But all of them, though they have many names, can be addressed with one name. And that name is ornament. If we say ornament, it refers to all the ornaments. So ornament is a general name of all the ornaments. Similarly, here in this world we have so many different things are there. Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, the 5 great elements. Then so many different worlds are there. Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha, Janaha, Maha, Satyam, etc. And the lower world, Atala, Sutala, Talatal, Rasatal, Patal, etc. And we have so many different types of beings are there, human beings, animals, birds, plants. So many varieties are there. But all of them can be indicated with one name, and that name is Om. Because that name Om pervades all these objects. All can be all can be indicated with that one name, Om. So that name Om is not only the name of the manifested world, but Om is also the name of that unmanifested Supreme Brahma. Om iti etat Brahma. In Kathopanishad also we have seen the beauty of this Om, that Om iti etad alambanam shreshtham, Om iti etad alambanam param. There we have seen that it is considered as alamban, as a support, supreme support of that Brahma. Means with the help of Om, we can not only know the Sagun Brahma, but we can also understand the Nirgun Brahma. So it's a beautiful name of that Supreme Brahma. With the help of that name, we can understand and meditate on that Supreme Brahma. Therefore here, so all that is mentioned in the Upanishads, in Bhagavad Gita, in Brahma Sutra, they are all descriptions and the commentary on Om only. Therefore in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says that I am Pranava. Pranava means Om. Pranava sarva Vedeshu. I am Pranava in all the Vedas. So here Shankaracharya ji, he writes that Pranava Omkaraha Dhanuhu. The Upanishad says the Pranava is like Dhanu, like a bow. So what is the purpose of a bow? Shankaracharya ji writes ki yatha yatheshvasanam lakshe sharasya pravesha karanam tata atma sarasya akshare lakshe pravesha karanam omkaraha. So just as a bow is useful to hit the arrow on the target, the bow becomes just helpful to hit the arrow on the target. So ultimately the arrow goes to the target, the bow doesn't go. But the arrow by itself cannot go, it doesn't have that power. It doesn't have that strength. If you just throw that arrow, it will not go very far. So it requires some power, some strength. And that is provided by the bow. So when we attach the arrow to the bow and pull the string of the bow behind, the arrow gets all the energy, the potential energy. And when we release that arrow, it just flies with so much of power and strength. But the most important thing is that the arrow should be attached to the proper bow. Because that bow not only gives strength to the arrow, but it also gives direction. See, many people, they are fascinated by the term meditation. People keep on following different techniques of meditation. And nowadays in Kali Yuga, every second person is a teacher of meditation, and we try to practice. I hope it is, you can hear me properly and see me properly. If the bow is not proper, means if we don't take support of the traditional our scriptures, if we don't take support of the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita and the Brahma Sutra, then the arrow will not get the necessary strength and the proper direction. Okay, you just focus, those who cannot hear me properly, just I can't do anything more. Maybe there is some problem with the net. So you just listen, and hopefully this will get recorded so you can hear it again, the talk, okay? So if we don't take proper guidance from our scriptures like the Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, and meditate according to our own fancy or according to the fancy of the teacher, then we will not be able to hit the target properly. So it is very important that the pranava is the teaching of the Upanishads, which we have to comprehend properly. So pranavena hi abhyasamanena sanskriyamanaha tad alambano apratibandhena akshare avatisthate. So if we with the help of this pranava, when we contemplate and then we meditate, we will be able to realize that Brahma. So yatha dhanushaha dhanushasta ishur lakshe ataha pranavo dhanuhu iva dhanu. Therefore this pranava is like the dhanu. See, we have to ultimately, with the help of the Shastras, we have to comprehend and understand ourselves. We have to know ourselves. When we say know ourselves, we know this Atma. That Atma which we are experiencing in this body as the Sakshi of our body, our mind, that Atma we have to comprehend as that Supreme Brahma. Here Shankaracharya ji writes, कि शरो ही आत्मा उपाधि लक्षणः पर एव जले सूर्यादिवत् इह प्रविष्टो देहे सर्व बौद्ध प्रत्यय साक्षितया. That Brahma which is all pervading is present in this body and experiences our own Atma as a Sakshi. Sakshi means as a witness of our body as well as our antakarana. The Atma is experienced as a witness of not only the body but witness of our antakarana also. Witness means sakshat ikshate sadhanam vina. Without any instrument, I am able to recognize, I am able to know. See, for example, in the waking, I see this world in front of me through my senses. So I am the knower and this world is known. But not only the world, I can also know my own body. I am aware of my body. I know my body, the physical body. I know my head, my hands, my stomach, my legs. So I am the knower and body is the known. And knower is always different from the known. So I am the knower and this body is the known. If it is too disturbing, then we will just conclude the class then. Are you able to hear me? Is it too disturbing? Hari Om. Should I continue? Okay, I will just disconnect now and again start, so you don't go anywhere. I will just conclude this, but again restart. Okay? Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Namah Parvati Pataye. Har Har Mahadeva. Okay. Hari Om. So we were looking at this beautiful mantra, Pranavo Dhanusharo Yatma Brahmatal Lakshamuchyate Apramattena Vedhavyam Sharavat Tanmayo Bhavet. Hmm. So just as our class, if the Wi-Fi connection and all are not proper, then we will not be able to reach our target. Similarly, if the Upanishads, mantras and all are not studied properly, we will not be able to meditate well and attain our goal of that Brahma. So Brahma is the Lakshya, and that Lakshya one has to understand that Brahma with the help of the Upanishads. Upanishads explain that Brahma in steps, because that Brahma is too vast, too subtle, too difficult to comprehend. So the Upanishad reveals that Brahma in stages. In the Mundaka Upanishad, that Brahma is indicated as Om. First, the Upanishad says that everything is Omkar. Then the Upanishad says that everything is Brahma. And then the Upanishad says that everything is Atman. So with the help of that Omkar, Brahma is pointed out. And then the Upanishad tells us that you are that Brahma. See, Brahma is that which is vast, infinite, which includes everything. The entire creation, with all the beings, with all the worlds, everything is that Brahma. And when I experience myself as a very limited being. I experience myself in this body which is like a tiny little speck in the entire creation. I experience myself in my antakarana which is also so small. So what I experience myself is a very limited comprehension of myself. I consider myself as this physical body. I take myself to be the mind, intellect, which is really not true. I am that all-pervading Brahma in which the entire creation is established. But to comprehend this immediately is very difficult. So the Upanishad tells that consider this whole everything as that Om. So it is indicating that supreme reality Brahma as Om. And tells that this Omkar has got 3 padas or 3 matras. Omkar is made up of 3 letters, A, U and Ma. Omkar is made up of 3 letters, A, U and Ma. In Sanskrit, according to the grammar rules, A and U, when they come together, it becomes O. So A and U becomes O and Ma. So Om. So Om is made up of A, U and Ma. So taking this help of these three letters, the three expressions of Brahma are indicated. So the letter A indicate the expression of Brahma as Vaishvanara. The letter U indicates the expression of Brahma as Tejasa or Hiranyagarbha. The letter Ma indicates the expression of Brahma as Ishvara. And all these three letters put together is that Omkar, which is Brahma. That Brahma includes Vaishvanara, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara. Just as Om includes A, U and Ma. So this I, that Atma, we have to first understand that Atma as Vaishvanara. I identify with myself as this limited physical body, but that Vaishvanara is the entire creation. We have seen the head of that Vaishvanara is that total space. The eyes of Vaishvanara are the sun and the moon. The pranas of the Vaishvanara is all the air. The feet of the Vaishvanara is this Prithvi. So in this way the entire creation is described as Vaishvanara. So I, the Atma, in the first step, I have to comprehend myself as Vaishvanara. Means I am not just in this body. I am not identified with this body, but I am the one who is the support of this entire creation. I have to transcend my identification with this individual body and identify with the total cosmos. That is the first step, the first lesson which we can learn with the help of Om. I am briefly giving you the idea. When we study the Mundaka Upanishad, we will be able to study everything in detail. Now I am telling all this just to let you know that this Omkar is not a very simple just sound, but it has got a deep significance. It is the sar of the teachings of all the Upanishads. So, with the first step, we are able to drop our identification with our own physical body and identify with the entire creation. But this Vaishvanara, the entire creation, Vaishvanara who is managing the show of this entire vast creation, is himself controlled and managed by Hiranyagarbha. Just as our physical body, we can see that though I may be doing something with my hand, but the hand is controlled by my antakarana, by my buddhi. The sukshma sharir controls the stula sharir. So when I am walking, when I am talking, it is actually the sukshma sharir which is walking and talking. the Sukshma Sharir is controlling the Sthula Sharir. And the one who is identified and controlling the total Sukshma Sharir, the total Mana Buddhi Ahankar, is that Hiranyagarbha. So the letter U of Omkar indicates Hiranyagarbha. So when we meditate and contemplate on Om, we have to understand first that I am not this one who is identified with this physical body, but I am that Vaishvanara. So I who is there present in this body is the same I which is present in the entire creation, is the support of the entire creation. Thereafter, I have to understand this I is the support of not only my mind, but the very support of the entire total mind. I am that Hiranyagarbha. I am Hiranyagarbha. So when I meditate on myself as Hiranyagarbha, I come to comprehend two letters of Omkar, A and U. So the Hiranyagarbha is the one who has total mind, total intellect of the entire creation. So I who is deep within this Antakarana is the same I who is controlling and managing the Antakarana of the entire creation. Thereafter, we have to understand that even our Antakarana is not fully managed, controlled by Hiranyagarbha. There is someone subtler than Hiranyagarbha, that is Ishvara. Ishvara makes our mind, intellect also stop functioning, like in deep sleep. When we are in deep sleep, we don't have any control over our mind, our intellect. So who is making us sleep and who is waking us up? That is Ishvara. So I am that Ishvara. So meditating on Ishvara is like meditating on the letter Ma of Om. And this Ishvara is that Brahma, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, and which is indicated by the complete Om. Om is that Brahma. So in this way, taking the support of Om, one has to meditate on that Brahma, which is beyond Vaishvanara, beyond Hiranyagarbha, beyond Ishvara, who take in all this within itself and remains. Vaishvanara get absorbed in Hiranyagarbha, Hiranyagarbha gets absorbed in Ishvara, and Ishvara gets absorbed in Brahma. Just as when we chant Om, A merges into U, and U merges into Ma. When we chant Om, The first letter which comes out is A, which becomes U, which becomes Ma, and it all merges into that Omkar. In the same way, with the help of Omkar, when we meditate, we first understand ourselves as as Vaishvanara, then we understand ourselves as Hiranyagarbha, then we understand ourselves as Ishvara, and finally we comprehend ourselves as Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Atma Brahma. So in 4 steps, we finally come to comprehend ourselves as Brahma. So taking the support of Omkar, we contemplate, meditate, sharpen the understanding of our own self, sharpen the arrow, and then finally meditate on that Brahma and become one with that Brahma. So that is what is indicated here in this mantra. कि स शर इव स्वात्मनि एव अर्पितः अक्षरे ब्रह्मणि अतः ब्रह्म तल लक्ष्यम उच्यते. Brahma is the lakshya, the target. So lakshya iva manas samadhitsubhihi atma bhavena lakshamanatvat. So all those who meditate, they meditate on that Brahma, keep that Brahma as the target. Meditate on that Brahma. So how should we meditate? Shankaracharya ji further in his commentary writes कि तत्र एवं सति अप्रमत्तेन वेद्धव्यम. With single pointed attention and focus and concentration, we have to meditate. Apramatena. Apramatena means bahya vishaya upalabdhi trishna pramada varjitena sarvato viraktena jitendriyena ekagra chittena. Giving up all other desires, giving up all other wants, only keeping that Brahma as our goal, we have to meditate on that Brahma. Dropping our identification with this individual body, dropping our identification with this individual antakarana, we have to meditate on that inner self as Brahma, as that which includes everything and which is in its pure form, it is devoid of everything. So bahya vishaya upalabdhi trishna pramada varjitena sarvatah viraktena. With that vairagya, one has to meditate on the inner self as Brahma. Vedhavyam brahma lakshyam tatah tad vedanad urdhvam sharavat tanmayo bhavet. And through this meditation, just like the arrow, when it hits the target, it becomes one with the target. In the same way, by meditating constantly on this Atma as Brahma, one has to become one with that Brahma. Now when we look at ourselves, we think I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect. I have to identify with that Brahma and consider myself as Brahma. Mano buddhya hankara chittani naham nacha shrotra jivve nacha ghrana netre nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. That I am not this mind, intellect, senses, ahankar, the 5 elements, I am not all this Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. I am the Shuddha Brahma. So that which I experience as I, that which I experience as the Sakshi of this body mind, that Sakshi Atma, I have to meditate on that Sakshi Atma as Brahma. I have to meditate on my own inner self as Brahma. Brahma is big. Brahma includes in it Vaishvanara, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara. In Mundaka Upanishad, the example is given of a rupee. Let us say we have 1 rupee coin. In that 1 rupee coin, there is a 25 paisa, then there is 50 paisa, then there is 75 paisa, and finally there is 1 rupee. So outwardly we only see 1 rupee, but in that 1 rupee is hidden 25 paisa, 50 paisa, 75 paisa. So if I want to understand that 1 rupee, first step is to understand 25 paisa. Once 25 paisa is understood, then we can understand 50 paisa. Then we understand 75 paisa. And finally we understand that 1 rupee. So 1 rupee is like that Brahma. So first we understand Vaishvanara, ourself as Vaishvanara, that is like understanding 25 paisa. Then swallow that Vaishvanara in Hiranyagarbha, understand yourself as Hiranyagarbha, that is like understanding 50 paisa. Then understand yourself as Ishvara, that is like understanding 75 paisa. Then understand yourself as Brahma, that is like understanding the whole 1 rupee. So yatha sharasya laksha ekatmatvam phalam bhavati tatha dehadi atma pratyaya tiraskaranaina akshara ekatmatvam phalam apadayed ityartha. So just as the arrow become one with the target, that is the goal, that is the lakshya of that arrow, in the same way, dropping our identification with our own body, mind, etc., we have to identify ourselves with Brahma. Understand ourselves as Brahma. I am Brahma. Not confined to this body, not confined to this antakarana. I am that all-pervading Brahma. Therefore, one who comes to comprehend this Brahma finally, when that enlightened person looks at this world, he sees this whole world as his own self. Sarva bhutastham atmanam sarva bhutani cha atmani pashyati. He sees himself in all the beings and he sees all beings in his own self. He sees no division of any kind. So he gains what is called sarvatma bhav. Everything is seen as his own self. Other than Brahma, there is nothing. For an enlightened person, other than Brahma, that is, other than himself, there is nothing. Everything is his own self. So this is conveyed in these 2 mantras using this beautiful metaphor of the bow and arrow. More about this we will see in our class tomorrow, and I hope you could hear me properly. There was a lot of disturbance today. Maybe some problem with the Wi-Fi here. So you can again listen to it. It will be there. The recorded talk is there. So you please listen to this talk again. Contemplate, think, and we will meet again tomorrow. So till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, and see you all tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram, Bole Syavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.